Welcome to Uncensored Conservatism. This is episode number 273. We're going to be taking a look back on the past week of the Trump presidency 2.0, and not too much really happened. It was relatively quiet, so at least there's no new constitutional crisis to report, so I guess that's some good news. Well, there was the House passage of Trump's big, beautiful bill that many say does not go far enough. I've looked over some of it and hope to have an analysis at some point, but our national debt will have to be addressed at some point, and I don't think that this bill really does that. Of course, the Democrats are out there saying people are going to die because some illegal immigrants will not be eligible for Medicaid or something, and they still seem to be for government waste, fraud, and abuse or something like that. And compromise is all well and good, but there comes a time when Republicans will have to take a stand, hold their ground, and fight for funding cuts. And that's leading to some infighting on the Republican side of the equation. Personally, not to sound pessimistic, but it does appear that other than making the 2017 Trump tax cuts permanent, there's tinkering around the edges with some stuff to expire in 2028. So we'll see when it comes to actual appropriation bills what actually gets cut and what does not. Of course, there was that slap heard around the world, and Emmanuel Macron is just one sissy that Trump has to deal with on the international stage. And it kind of reminds me of there's accusations of Doug Emhoff or Mr. Kamala Harris bitch slapping his girlfriend at some party. And with summer coming, so will bicyclists, who I generally don't like in my area, especially those with the little helmets with the mirrors on the side and the spandex outfits who think they're in the Tour de France. But then again, I certainly would yield the road to this gang of bicyclists. Which reminds me, don't forget that June is Gay Pride Month, not to be confused with Transgender Awareness Day or maybe Bisexual Day or whatever they're coming up with. I'm sure those queers for Palestine are cleaning up their flags and washing those terrorist rags they like to wear on their heads. Yeah, I'll be avoiding the celebration of Gay Pride Month, thank you very much, because basically I'm an unapologetic heterosexual. In fact, I think we should have a heterosexual month, maybe August, because nothing really happens in August. There's no holiday like Labor Day or Thanksgiving or anything like that. I'd say October, but it has Halloween. Oh, and Columbus Day. And Disney is celebrating Pride Month with a new movie available on their subscription service. Poor Aquaman doesn't get any respect, and now they made he a she. And speaking of transgenders, which I really wasn't. Anyway, and in honor of Gay Pride Month, these lovely women are reminding all other like-minded women to get your annual prostate exam. Okay, already about these weirdos. Let's get back to politics, where the Democrats are in some disarray. Their approval rating is the lowest it's been since the 1970s or the 1990s. It doesn't matter. It's in the toilet. And they're spending $20 million to study the syntax of young white males. I don't know. I think just looking at this meme may be less expensive than spending $20 million to understand the syntax, grammar, or slang of young white males. I mean, seriously. They've thrown so much delusional crap out there that they're the only ones to believe it. But if only they can find that key to understanding syntax. And of course, there are Democratic leaders like this one. And I doubt that quote there is fake because it sounds like something that would come out of the mouth of this dimwit. Or maybe even Adam Schiff, who is so deranged he believes his delusional lies, and there are way too many to recount here, because that would be a whole other episode. And maybe, just maybe, somebody will one day get serious and discover why some people in Congress making less than $200,000 per year are now multimillionaires, but I kind of doubt it. So the Democrats have very little to offer right about now other than supporting male athletes pretending to be girls and hatred of all things Trump. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, Trump is so on the mind of the crazy Democrats and the left, but I repeat myself, that all they have is hatred, transgenders, and, oh yeah, the courts. Because the lawfare continues before anti-Trump liberal judges. And that's leading Trump to challenge some of these judges and their rulings. Now, there may come a point where Trump will pull an Andrew Jackson and just tell them to fuck off, but we'll see. NPR seems to think they have a constitutional right to public funding or something. Maybe all media should insist on public funding and see where that leads. Marco Rubio over at the State Department is cracking down on foreign student visas, especially those from China, while the administration is cracking down on Harvard specifically over a variety of issues. I don't know, maybe Harvard will use that multi-billion-dollar endowment to attract, I don't know, maybe students from this country? And what would any news of the week be without some dose of racism? This time it's about some white South African refugees, like 70 of them, compared to the millions that Biden let in during his presidency. And sorry, white guys, wrong skin color for refugee status. CNN reports that depictions of robots painted white may be based in racism. All right, let's just paint the suckers black and see what happens. They could just be more neutral and we can paint them gray, but that might piss off the elderly. And the WNBA, a women's sport league dominated by black lesbian women, is gaining some popularity, ironically, because of a white, I believe she's straight woman named Caitlin Clark. And every time Clark's team wins against another team, some black lesbian on that team cries racism. There's no word yet on whether former FBI Director James Comey will face any repercussions for his not-so-veiled Instagram threat against Donald Trump. And as if New Jersey needed any more embarrassments besides Cory Booker, Bruce Springsteen remains in Europe ranting against Trump as if anybody really gives a shit what Bruce Springsteen thinks. Just shut up, play music, and then go away, okay? Move on to the next town. I believe the Bernie Sanders road show featuring AOC and her mom jeans, the so-called Fight the Oligarchy tour, is now over. Yeah, capitalism's been pretty good to Bernie and AOC and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and some others out there. I mean, could Bernie and AOC be the saviors the Democrats are hoping for come 2028? As a conservative, I sure as hell hope so. Because this kind of summarizes it when it comes to that gaggle of failed socialists or communists. Bernie may not own that blue block there, Boardwalk and Park Place, but he owns 4 railroads, the red properties, the yellow properties, the green properties, and probably one of the utilities. Joe Biden is still in the news, and not in good ways. He's back to sniffing hair and saying weird shit. Yeah, this is the guy who got more votes than any Democrat ever. Okay, yeah, I believe that. Yeah, But it's now good to know who the real presidents were from 2021 to January 2025, because it sure as hell wasn't Joe Biden. And I guess this kind of summarizes his presidency, how things can get so fucked up in 4 short years. It's going to keep historians busy for decades to come. I've also noticed that climate change has sort of faded from the headlines. So what's an ugly autistic Swedish girl to do? Well, of course, support terrorists in Gaza. Whatever. I guess that has something to do with climate change. But it really never was about that to this little cretin. It was all about fame. And yeah, I failed to notice the difference here. So much for those rising sea levels, Greta. And to all those out there chanting that climate change is an existential threat, your record in this area leaves a lot to be desired. And finally, in Second Amendment news, all right, so this one's obviously AI generated. The little flying saucer there in the background kind of gives it away. But this one is real. And that's one nice butt there. And I guarantee you she's a conservative woman because I did find a picture of a liberal woman shooting a gun. Jesus Christ. That's scary. Let's go back. I don't want to ruin your Sunday morning. Let's go back. There you go. And that's pretty much it. Thank you. Have a great day. More pleasant tomorrow. Check out that butt and that little tummy there. And you got to love conservative women. Have a great one.